Hi, Jasmine. How are you? I think you have your audio, or sorry, your microphone off, but that's okay.
Now.
That's better.
It's so cool.
Right? I think so.
I'm so excited. Like it is. I just read the HIT class and it went so nice. Like it's so good.
Perfect.
Everyone's just super happy about it. It's just good.
I love it. I think that's fabulous. I'm just trying to remember how do I have to wait for another person to come in before I can spotlight myself?
Yeah, I haven't done the spotlighting yet. I just kind of had all my people on my screen, like to the top right. I think it had the view bubbles.
Okay.
I think that's where, but yeah, I think you'll wait till everyone signs in, and do it from there.
I think so too. How you hanging in there?
Yeah, good. Just yeah, because I'm trying to find somewhere else to live. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, because my housemate is just, like he's not here right now, which is awesome, but he's just a nightmare, and I'm not locking myself down with him.
No.
So
No.
I
Oh my God. Yeah.
yeah.
I was listening to Jacinda, the Prime Minister in New
Yeah.
Zealand, speak about how some of the people are gonna have to stay stuck with their roommates if they don't like them. I was like, oh my God.
So I was literally, I contacted so many Airbnbs because I thought no one is literally gonna book Airbnbs.
Yeah.
And it's a regular income for, people that need it, not just like always just real estate. But I thought, you know what? I've contacted like 20 Airbnbs.
Yes. Yes.
I
Oh
looked
my goodness.
yeah, and I thought I don't really care what area it's in because we're super homebound anyway.
Yeah.
So I looked at one at Hertzville, and it's a 2-bedroom. It's a bit over my budget, like $100 over a week. But I thought, my sanity's worth more than money.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Your sanity is worth its weight in gold. Yeah. Yeah. No.
I'm just gonna use my super. Get that super out and put it in a savings, and if I need to use it, I don't care. I'm gonna use it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I'll mute myself so you can.
Hi, Andrea. Good to see you. I'm just gonna spotlight my video here. Andrea, we're just gonna wait a few more minutes until people come in, and then we'll get started. We probably only have about 5 more minutes. Hi, Barbara. So we'll get started here shortly. You can just keep your microphone off, please. That would be great. You don't even have to have your video on if you don't want to. Not a big deal. And we'll get started here shortly. Perfect. Hello. We'll get started really shortly here. So just set yourself up, make sure you're comfy and ready to go, and you have all your things that you need for your practice. You don't even need any things actually, which is kind of nice. It's just an option. It sounds like we've had someone else join us, so welcome. Hopefully you guys can hear me clearly. If someone wants to pop in and just let me know that you guys can hear me, that would be fabulous. And you might need to turn on your audio to do that. And if you're not sure how to turn on your microphone, in the window itself on the bottom left, there's a little microphone. If it's muted, you're going to have to unmute it. Okay. If you want to talk for a moment.
Hi, Monica. It's
Hi. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. Perfect. All right, got a few more people trickling in. So just feel free to now turn your microphones off, and I ask you kindly that you keep the microphones off just so that we don't get any feedback from your end coming into the actual yoga session online. I see somebody waving to me. I think it's Karina, but I'm not sure. I sort of need my glasses because my camera is all the way on the other end of the room right now. So forgive me. Love to you all. Okay, so I'll just give it just about 2 more minutes here. Gather anything that you need for the practice. If you feel you need something like a folded blanket, you know, I have this here. This is just a really simple cotton folded blanket. Nothing special. You don't even need a yoga mat. That's completely optional as well. If you're on carpet or hardwood, that will do as well. So all good there. And we'll get started really soon here. Bear with me if we have any technical difficulties. And I have just a little bit of an agenda to walk through before we begin. Okay? Just make sure you're comfortable. Hopefully you guys can see me okay. Thumbs up? Yeah, I saw some thumbs up. Perfect. You guys are great. Okay. Well, we're about 1 minute in, so I guess I'll just get it started. Guys, thank you so much for joining me this evening. This is really fabulous. We're in the thick of things right now. Things are changing literally hour by hour, and we just have to move with the change and just go with the flow. You know, that's how things are in the world and our society right now, and even in our little but awesome community within Haven. We have to move with the times and change accordingly. But, you know, we're super excited to bring this to you. I'm personally no stranger to this. So this is kind of something I've been doing for a little while now, and I really love it, actually. I think online is a great way to interact with clients and bring yoga to people in other modalities. So this is exciting for me. Just a few little housework things just to kind of go over. Just make sure, again, that you've hit mute on your microphone, just so that we don't have any feedback coming in, okay? And I appreciate you all for joining this class tonight. This is really, really awesome. Thank you so much. For whatever reason, if there's some sort of technical difficulty where you get kicked out of the meeting, not to fret, just go back to your email, click the link, you'll come right back into the meeting. Just make sure your microphone, again, is turned off, okay? So no worries about that. If you, for whatever, get kicked off, you can always come back in just by clicking the link, okay? It's really easy peasy, okay? Perfect. Another thing I just want to mention is a lot of the things that we'll do in the practices going forward, you don't necessarily need props for. So if you see that I have props around me, not to worry. You can get on very well using things like pillows, regular blankets that you have around the house, or maybe even some hardcover books. Those will very much do the job. If you're interested in getting yoga props, you know, that's totally up to you. So I'll kind of leave that into your hands, but no pressure to use props with this going forward. And lastly, I just want to say that if you're managing an injury or some sort of health concern right now, please work within your range of motion. Please work within your boundaries. Never go to a place where you're feeling a very sharp pain or a hot pain. That's something we want to avoid entirely, okay? Throughout the practice, you'll probably hear me talking a little bit more. I'm going to be a little bit more cuey with my talk, but I'll also make sure to insert some time for quiet, because we all enjoy that in the yin, yeah? And I'll also make sure I'm demonstrating postures front to back. So you'll see me demonstrating a posture this way and one where I'm turning to the side. So not to worry, I'll show you what the postures look like and be very clear with that, okay? So the theme for tonight, I thought this was so fitting, haha, is we're gonna be working on yoga for the immune system. And so what's entailed with the immune system? Well, our lymphatic system, that plays a huge role in helping to flush out any foreign substances or bacteria or viruses within the body. And our lymphatic system contains what's known as lymph nodes. A lot of us probably already know what this is. The lymph nodes are just simply those glands that are helping to push and flush the fluid out through the body. Now, the lymph nodes are located all over the body, but if you don't know this, you might learn something new tonight. Your major lymph nodes are located in your neck, under the armpits, and in the groin, in the inner thigh area. So naturally, we'll be practicing some postures this evening that target into these areas, okay? And we'll do maybe one gentle standing posture, just a little downward dog, just to encourage a movement of that lymph fluid through the body, okay? We're gonna begin now laying down on our backs for a laying meditation. So you can come to lay down, please. I'll join you on the floor. If you wanna place something underneath your knees, just so that your lower back can be comfortable, that's totally fine. So just come to lay down on your back, get comfortable. Move the arms away from the ribs. Let the feet flop out to the sides. And just close down your eyes. And let the body be heavy in the floor. And very slowly, take a nice deep breath into the belly and the chest. Open the jaw just a little bit and exhale. Let's do that a few more times. Deep breath into the belly. And big exhale. Again, deep breath into the lower belly. Let the breath travel up through the rib cage and deep into the lungs. And on your exhalation, pushing out the air, opening the jaw wider this time. Letting the breath return back to neutral. Becoming aware of the body on the earth. Becoming aware now of your breath. See if you can notice the gentle beat of your heart. Keeping the mind soft. And the awareness, let it travel to the areas of the body where you're feeling free and open. Become aware of those areas now. Now bringing awareness to the areas of the body where you're feeling maybe perhaps some resistance and tension. Focus in on those areas without judgment or control. And begin to take a deep breath into those spaces of the body. Imagine as though you're breathing in light and energy into those dark caves of the body. Slow, gentle breaths, softening the areas of tension on every exhalation. And if the mind begins to wander away, very gently and lovingly invite the mind back into the body. Feel your breath. Feel your heartbeat. Keeping the eyes closed, begin to gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. And begin to also rotate the wrists and the ankles very gently. Maybe reach the arms overhead and give yourself a little stretch on the floor. Maybe a deep breath or a yawn, whatever feels most comfortable to you. And from here, bend both of your knees into your chest. And keep the soles of the feet on the floor here for a moment. And we're actually going to take gentle windshield wiper legs side to side with the soles of the feet on the floor. The knees are bent, gently moving from left to right, just stretching into the side of the hip and the outer leg and massaging the lower back on the floor. Keep the abdomen and the breath soft. Good. Moving back through center. This time, bend the knees in towards you. Give yourself a little squeeze, hugging the knees into the chest. Either the hands can come on in front of the knee, or you could just bring the hands behind the knees here. And we're not going to stay here long. We're then going to extend the legs overhead. Hopefully that's comfortable for you. If not, you can always slide either a book or a folded blanket underneath the sacrum. And we're just going to take some opportunity to rotate the ankles clockwise and counterclockwise. Just moving the fluid in the legs downwards. You can even point the toes and flex the toes. Also feel free to give the legs a little shake here. Shake them around. Let them be pretty floppy. This isn't exactly a specific yoga pose, but it's a great way to help drain lymph that maybe has collected in the lower body. Breathing here with the legs extended. And your exhalation, bend the knees back into the chest. We're now moving right into our first yoga posture and happy baby. So bending the knees into the chest, we widen the thighs. We lift the feet up towards the sky and maybe grab a hold of the big toes, the ankles. If you're unable to let the feet reach up towards the sky, you can always bend the toes back and towards each other. That is absolutely appropriate. And we'll also demonstrate this posture in this format so that you can see. Happy baby. Many of us are very familiar with happy baby. We're looking for sensation and a pressure into the hip sockets. So deep within the hips. If you like, you can get a little playful in your happy baby. Feel free to rock side to side. That might feel good on the lower back. You must forgive me, I do live in an old apartment, so I have creaky floors. So if you're wondering what that noise is, that's what it is. Creaky floors. Feel free to also straighten the right leg and maybe bend the left knee in. And then do that on the other side. Bend the right knee in and straighten the left. That might feel okay for you. If not, just stay still in your happy baby. Sometimes a little movement in the posture can feel really appropriate. Breathing here. Really allowing the head of the femur bone to get nice and snug in the hip sockets. Notice what kind of tension you're holding in the hip sockets today. Is it more than normal, or are you feeling quite open and free in this area? And when we notice, we're never judging, we're just becoming aware. And we do this so that we can raise our own internal consciousness with what's going on in our bodies. And coming back to simply feeling and exploring sensation. Very slowly now, begin to draw the feet back in towards each other. Place the soles of the feet back on the floor. Take a rebound here by windshield wipering the legs left and right. Just washing away the sensation in the hips. Gentle breaths. Good. Just bringing the knees back through center. Feel here for a moment in your rebound. And very, very mindfully, please roll to your left side, using your bottom arm as a pillow, and come to push yourself up. And we'll come right into seated, please. If you wish to sit on some height, you can. Absolutely fine. I like to sit on height just because it encourages my knees to draw away from my hip crease, and then I can relax within the hips. We'll be staying seated for a couple of minutes. So make sure you are perhaps sitting on something so that the sit bones can be comfortable. We're going to take a stretch now for the sides of the neck, known as graceful bow. Please drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. And then from here, you have a couple of options with the left hand. You could extend the left arm out to the side. You might feel a nice pull onto the outer arm and maybe within the neck. Or you could bend the left elbow and place the back of the hand on your sacrum. If this isn't enough for you to stretch into the side of the neck here, this really thick band of tissue, feel free to place a little bit of traction on the head and the neck using the right hand. It's not an intense pressure. We're not cranking down the neck in any way. We're just simply applying a bit of pressure so that we can access the stretch. Alternatively, you might like the option of sort of tucking the chin in towards the chest slightly. That might get into that sweet spot for you. Slow, deep breaths. Noticing the tension in the neck. Notice how the tension as you hold this posture begins to shift and change. So nothing with the sensations are ever permanent. They're always moving, always changing. Much like the world we live in today. That's my aha moment for today. Breathing here. A couple more deep breaths in your graceful bow. And very slowly, please use your inhalation to draw the head and the neck back up through center. Bring the left hand back on the knee if you had it bent behind you. And we're gonna move right to the second side. So this time, please drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. Just notice how this side of the body is feeling in the beginning. I don't know about you, but I'm really tight. More on one side of the body, and today it's my right side, so I really need this stretch here today. Options for the hand: you can keep the hand on the knee, you can extend the arm out to the side, you might also like to bend the elbow, and then of course if you want to apply traction onto the neck gently, you can. Those are your options. Okay. Feel free to close the eyes. Notice how this side feels. Notice if you need to perhaps tuck the chin more into the chest slightly, just to access the best part of the neck for you. To access that real juicy part that needs the stretch the most. So within graceful bow, in this posture in particular, we're stimulating into the lymph nodes that pretty much are placed just underneath the jaw here. So if you've ever been sick with maybe, say, the cold or the flu or some sort of infection, generally you'll feel tenderness right in this area here. That's very common. So that's the lymph nodes swelling up slightly. They could be put into hyperdrive if you're fighting off an infection. Keeping the abdomen soft, gentle breaths. Again, beginning to notice how the stretch changes. You may need to adjust the posture to then access the stretch in a better way. Nothing is permanent. Everything changes. Two more deep breaths. Beautiful. Inhale, draw the head and the neck back up through center. Use the breath to help guide you. And just to rebound, make some gentle half circles with the head and the neck. Just moving the head, tucking the chin in, moving the head from left to right. Good. Inhale, come back up through center. Now we're going to take a posture that will help to stimulate within the armpits and the upper body as well. We're going to come into what's known as Gomukhasana, cow face pose, but only half cow face pose. We're only going to do the upper body. Inhale here, extend the right arm overhead. Good. Use the left hand just to help encourage the arm to lift up and out of the armpit, and then bend the right elbow. Grab a hold of the back of your shirt, and then draw the left arm behind you and grab whatever part of the shirt you can, lifting up through the chest. Really notice if you can draw the elbow up towards the sky. From the back, it looks like this. You can see I'm just gently using my shirt to pull and to access the stretch within the armpits and the shoulders. If you can clasp the arms together, that's great. If you're unable to, that's obviously not a requirement, okay? We obviously all have different physical capabilities, so just work within your range of motion, okay? It's not about clasping the hands in this posture. Breathing here. Keeping the lower abdomen soft. Keep the breath flowing into the lower belly, up through the ribs and into the lungs. Especially when we're holding upper body postures like this, it's common for students to want to hold their breath. So really just notice that. Notice too if you're caving within the upper body, really keep a slight lift up through the chest. And relax through the neck. So notice if you're squeezing the muscles of the neck. One more deep breath here. On your exhalation, mindfully let go of the left hand first. Extend your right arm overhead, reach up towards the sky, and release the arm downwards. Good, very nice. Just give a few shoulder shrugs to wash that away. Just to move that around, especially holding that in stillness for a bit. The blood can start to accumulate in the areas, and that's good. Blood is there to heal. We want that. Good. We're going to go straight to the second side. Inhale here, extend the left arm overhead, okay? Use the help of the right hand to just lift that arm up a bit, just so you're lifting it out of the armpit slightly. Bend the left arm, grab the t-shirt, and reach that right arm behind you and grab the other end. Grab whatever spot on the back of the shirt that you can. Lift up through the chest. Maybe a little smile. Because why not? We can have fun with this. I can't hear any of you, but I think you're laughing. Good. Notice how this side feels on this, for this posture. Notice how you might be a little bit different. I know for me, this posture is really difficult on this side of the body for me. I think I have something different going on with the structure of my bones, but it's always been different for me on this side. I don't know why. Breathing here. Keeping the breath flowing. Lifting through the chest. See if you can reach the elbow more towards the sky. Few more deep breaths here. If you've been doing a lot of Anna's classes or even Jasmine's, I know they're working your upper body pretty hard, so this might feel a bit tight for you today. And sometimes if you're like me, you can hold your tension in your upper body. You might really be feeling that this evening, especially here. Good. Take one more deep breath. And on your exhalation, release your right arm, extend your left arm overhead, reach up towards the sky, just wiggle the fingers a little bit and then draw the arms downwards. Good. Just give a few shoulder rolls front and back, let that go. Notice how the two sides of the body feel. I don't know about you, but I can really sort of feel this flush of energy and blood flowing through my shoulders now after that. So that feels quite good. Hopefully you feel the same. Good. Just keeping the eyes closed here for a moment as you sit. Take a nice deep breath into the belly. Open the jaw and sigh it out. Good. Gently blinking the eyes back open. We're now going to come on to all fours as we make our way into half melting heart. So in melting heart, we begin on all fours, okay? The hips and the buttocks don't move. They stay pretty stationary. You can either place the tops of the feet on the floor or you can tuck the toes. That's completely up to you. I'll leave that in your court. And begin to walk the hands forward, as far forward as you can, bringing the forehead down to the earth. We're going to begin by bending the left arm and keeping the right arm extended in front of us. So from the front, just to switch views, it would look like this. Okay, so we're focusing on the right armpit, the right front of the body, and the chest. And we'll be here for 2 minutes. Keeping the breath flowing. Notice if you're holding or squeezing anywhere in the body, and encourage yourself to soften. You have 1 more minute in your half melting heart. Very slowly on your next inhalation, lifting the chest up, drawing the right arm in towards you. Come back to a tabletop for a moment, and we're going to take a rebound flowing through cat and cow. So beginning with a neutral spine, take a nice deep breath. And as you exhalation, tuck the tailbone in, draw the spine, drop the head and the neck, rounding the spine here for your cat. Inhale, dipping the belly down towards the floor, lift the sitting bones, bring the head and the neck up. So just move and flow through this movement in your rebound just a couple of times. So we do a little bit of movement when we're working on the lymphatic system, so we can move the fluid around. But just a little bit. It's not intense, it's not extreme. It's just very gentle and supportive. If you want to move through a few snake-like or bear-like movements in a more free-form cat and cow, feel free to do that as well. If that speaks more to your body and speaks more to what you need this evening. And coming back through center, we're going to take this posture right to the second side. Walking the hands forward, bringing the heart melting down towards the earth. Extend the left arm in front of you and bend the right arm. So from the front, again, it looks like such. So we're working on one side and then the other. And we're here for 2 minutes. You have 1 more minute in your half melting heart. Keeping the breath flowing, staying present with the sensation within the armpit, the shoulder, and the chest. Very slowly on your next inhalation, pushing yourself back up to a tabletop very mindfully and with control. And please begin to move and rebound in a way that suits your body, suits with what you're feeling. Maybe it's a more traditional cat and cow, or maybe it's more free form in your bear, where you're sort of snaking the spine left and right, dropping the head, and just feeling here in a bit of movement, moving the blood flow back around, especially after holding. So you guys always hear me say this in my classes, nothing is ever pure yin. The yin and the yang are always going to be together. So if, again, you notice that I'm putting in yang within the sequence, that's just very indicative of life. Nothing is pure yin and nothing is pure yang. They exist together. And we need yin and yang in our life to heal our bodies from infection and to keep our immunity healthy. Good. Coming back through center, and then please come to sit on your buttocks, and we're going to make our way into dragonfly. If you like to sit on height here for your forward bend, I recommend just a simple folded blanket will do. You can also sit on a pillow, that's completely up to you. And the reason why you might find it useful to sit on some height is that can allow the pelvis to tilt forward, okay? And sometimes when the pelvis is more able to tilt forward, we can enjoy the posture a little bit more. So the legs are spread out wide as is comfortable for the body. It's up to you if you want to keep the feet flexed or just allow the feet to relax. I'll leave that up to you, okay? The purpose of this posture is we're looking for a stretch in the inner thighs. I know for myself, pretty much right away, without forward bending, I can already feel a stretch in my inner thighs. Sometimes it starts to crawl into the back of the hamstrings, and that's fine. If it's doing that for you, that's totally normal. You can place the hands on the floor, walk them forward if that's available to you. But don't go to your max sensation. We're going to be here for a few minutes, so let's just sort of enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride that the stretch and the posture has to offer. Breathing deeply. And again, we do have lymph nodes in a major lymph area that runs into the inner thighs. So this is a very important area that we're stimulating into. And it also, from a Chinese medicine perspective, stimulates very much into the liver and the gallbladder meridians. And those are also responsible for flushing out any unnecessary substances or toxins or anything like that in the body. So in the case of the liver, as long as you have a functioning liver, you don't need to worry about any of those ridiculous detox diets or anything like that. Your liver does that all for you. Mother Nature was pretty smart. She knew what she was doing. She gave you what you needed. At any time, you can adjust your posture in any way that suits your needs. You might notice you can begin to fold forward more, or maybe you like the idea of slightly beginning to round the spine and dropping the neck. Okay, so as long as that's not too aggravating for you. If there is any pulling going on in the knees, I encourage you to flex the feet like I'm doing here. Sometimes I get a bit of a nasty, icky feeling in my knees when I keep the feet relaxed, but if I flex them like this with the toes pointing up towards the ceiling, I don't get any of those yucky sensations. It just helps to support my kneecaps. So it might as well for yours too. Breathing here. And your next inhalation, slowly drawing your spine back up through center. Sit back onto the hands, draw the legs in. Just give the legs a little bit of a wiggle, maybe rocking them side to side gently, just to wash out of that sensation. Okay. Moving right into our half butterfly pose. If you need a book or a folded blanket for the knee in this posture, that's fine. We're going to begin by extending the left leg out in front of us and bending the right knee to what looks like a half butterfly wing. Place a support underneath your knee if you need to. I need to on this side. And then we're just going to be beginning by sitting up nice upright with the spine. Take a nice deep breath into the lower belly. And on your exhalation, I want you to just round your spine forward. Don't worry about bringing the entire upper body and the leg. Just begin to soften and become heavy in the upper body. Your choice if you want to flex the foot or the knot. We're accessing the back of the leg here in the hamstring. So coming to find that stretch in the hamstring. You may not want to fold down through center. Sometimes I like to fold off away from the straight leg, and I can still access the stretch in that spot. You might also like to move the leg away from you and fold forward that way. That might work for you, okay? So those are your options in your half butterfly. Slow, deep breaths. Notice if you're clenching within the jaw or anywhere else in the body. Just allow the body to be very passive here in your seated forward bend. Very, very, very slowly, slower than you think. Begin to draw yourself back up. Let the head and the neck come up last. Sit with a nice tall spine. Extend the right leg out in front of you. Sit back onto the hands. Lift the chest up towards the sky. Drop the head and the neck back if it's comfortable for you. And just take a moment here in a rebound. And slowly we'll make our way to the second side. Feel free to provide support for the bent knee if you need to, bending the left leg this time, creating a half butterfly wing with the leg, extending the right leg out in front of you. You might also like to bring it out to the side. And then, of course, options, folding over the leg, folding away from the leg, or maybe folding down through center with the leg away. What accesses the hamstring best for you in half butterfly? Okay, so again, we're moving away from aesthetics, we're moving away from alignment. What gets best into your hamstring, the back of the leg? Feel free to round through the spine, and feel free to also drop the head and the neck. Very, very slowly begin to draw yourself back up, letting the head and the neck come up last. Sitting back on the hands for a moment, extending the legs, maybe dropping the neck back, and taking a nice deep breath here in your rebound. Feel free to point and flex the feet a few times, maybe rotate the ankles, or maybe even give the legs a little shake. That might feel supportive for you. Before we come to lay down on our backs, let's take a downward dog. Now that the lower body is open, it might be a little bit more willing, and we might enjoy downward dog a little bit more here. So come onto all fours in your tabletop. Keep your hands more or less underneath your shoulders. Tuck the toes so the toes are pressing into the floor. Just sit your buttocks back towards the heels here for a moment, so as long as it's not aggravating on the knees. And then on your next inhalation, I want you to lift the knees off of the floor, send the hips and the buttocks back for downward facing dog. The head comes between the arms. Pedal your heels a few times, take your downward dog for a walk. Move the hips if that feels enjoyable to you. We're moving the lymph, the fluid in the body through, so that the lymph nodes can work properly. Just breathing here, taking a moving downward dog. And then settling into it. Breathing here. Inhale, slowly glide the heart forward. Bring the knees mindfully onto the floor. Just take a gentle little child's pose rebound. Big toes come together to touch. Widen your knees and thighs, maybe as wide as your mat or a little less. Extend your arms out in front of you, or you could also stack the fists on top of each other and rest the forehead here. Breathing here in a rebound. Your next inhalation, push yourself back up, and please come to lay down on your back with your legs extended out in front of you. We'll be making our way into a reclined twist. So bend both of your knees, placing the soles of the feet on the floor. Pick up your hips just for a moment and then slightly shift them over to the right. It's not a big movement, but it's a small movement so that the knees were able to fall more over to the left. You'll then bend the knees in towards you. The arms are out in the T position, and allow the knees to fall all the way over to the left. Breathing here. Feel free to apply a little bit of pressure with the left hand on the outer right thigh. Allowing yourself to feel grounded in your twist. Very, very slowly on your next inhalation, begin to draw your right knee back through center and then the left. Just shift the hips back through neutral by picking them up and placing the hips and the lower back through center. Just to take a moment here with a deep breath and a big sigh. We'll move right to the second side in our twist. Keeping the soles of the feet on the floor. Lift the hips up slightly and shift them over to the left. Bending the knees into the chest and then splaying the knees over to the right, coming into your reclined twist here. Let the body be heavy. Let the breathing be gentle. Slowly here, take a nice deep breath as you draw the left knee and then the right back up through center, shifting the hips back to neutral, and extend both of your legs down the mat, and we'll prepare for our final posture of the evening, Shavasana. So feel free to slide perhaps a folded blanket underneath the head or anything else under the knees or any other kind of support that you think you need. You will be laying down in this posture with your eyes closed, but I'm going to come up to seated just so that I can take you through your final rest. Allowing the shoulder blades to soften into the earth. Pick up the right shoulder blade, tuck it in, and then pick up the left and tuck that in also. Let your feet and your ankles flop out to the sides. And feel a heaviness travel from the calves, the knees, the inner thighs, tops of the thighs. And beginning to relax and let go deep within the hips, the lower back, and the entire pelvis. All the bones of the lower body getting heavy, sinking into the earth. And soon that softness begins to travel up through the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, the spine getting heavy, into the earth. Shoulder blades melting. And relaxing the upper arms, the lower arms, the palms of the hands, and all the way down your fingertips. Relaxing through the collarbone and your throat. Give a gentle little swallow, just so that you're not holding any tension in the throat. Relaxing all the muscles of your face. And ever so slightly, the crown of the head and down the back of the skull and the neck. Feeling all the bones and the muscles of the entire body getting heavy, sinking into the earth as you receive the benefits of this practice. Very, very slowly, take a nice deep breath into the belly and the lungs. Gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotate through your wrists and your ankles. Bring the arms overhead. Give yourself a nice big awakening stretch on the mat. Maybe a deep breath or a yawn. Bend both of your knees, placing the soles of the feet on the floor. And hug your knees into your chest, giving yourself a very generous and loving squeeze. Maybe rocking side to side if you like, massaging the lower back on the floor. Gently roll to your left side and push yourself up to a comfortable seat, sitting with a nice, tall spine. Closing down your eyes and bringing your hands together in an Anjali Mudra. Begin to rub the palms of the hands together, generating a heat and a friction. Feeling the heat get greater as you rub the hands vigorously together. And please release the hands and place the hands on your heart. Take a quiet moment to send yourself some very healing energy. There's something that you perhaps need more of in your life. When we take care of ourselves, we can be in service to others, and we can be happy and healthy. Please bring the hands back to Anjali Mudra. Bow the head slightly in towards you. Take one more deep breath. Exhale, sigh through the mouth. Thank you, yogis, for sharing your very beautiful practice with me online this evening. Namaste. Thank you so much, ladies. I really, really appreciate it. We went over just a little bit, but the good news for you, you don't have to travel home. You can just roll right into bed. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to roll right into the other room. So thank you so, so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Let us know your feedback of how you've been enjoying the classes. Any sort of constructive feedback is great. You know, even though some of us have been doing this, it's always good to get feedback. And if we're new to it, we love your comments, and we want to keep this vibe and this healing space going forward. Okay, so please share with us what you think, and yeah, we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you, Monica. It was great.
Thank you, lovely. I appreciate it so much. You guys have a beautiful evening, and we'll see you soon. Yeah.
You too.
Okay. We'll see you online. Bye. Take care.